The challenge of many traders is not about buying and selling. But one of the easiest things to do as a trader is for you to buy and to sell. But the difficulty most traders face is identifying where exactly to buy from and how do they go about buying. So in this video, I'll be addressing this major challenge, showing you how you can identify your range and your key zone where you can buy from. What we'll be doing is to identify this zone in this video, and then in the subsequent video we can now look at how exactly we can buy from this zone. So let's look at our chart. We will begin first. If we must identify these zones correctly, we must first of all know what is the dominant trend of the market. So we'll begin by identifying the trend of the market, and in this scenario you see that price is giving us a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, and a lower low. And afterward, we'll see price push to this upside. So here is a break of structure. So from this zone, we have a break of structure. This is a BOS. So this movement that started here has been compromised. So obviously, all of this that we're having up to this point, here and here, price now make a movement from this zone. Price move this way, and as such, we now have a break of structure here. So here is our BOS. So we are no longer in a downtrend. Now we are in an uptrend. So the current dominant trend of boom 900 now is an uptrend. So having identified that we have a break of structure at this point, what is the next thing we want to do? The next thing we want to do, now that we have identified that we have a break of structure, is that we want to simply identify our range. We want to identify our range. This range is where we buy and sell. Is where we buy and sell. So, what is the range? Please follow me carefully. All of this movement that happens from here to this point, all of this movement that breaks structure is the range. Again, all of this movement that push to the upside and break this structure is what we refer to as our range. Okay? So you will now do what? Identify this range. So that is how to get the range out of the way. Again, let me highlight the range for you. This movement here, all the way to this point, to this particular point, is what we refer to as our range. You see that? So this is the range. So now, having established that this is our range, and you now know that this movement from here is the range, the next thing is, where is the zone? Where are those key points on this range that we are looking for our trade entry? Where are the key points? The first key point, having established our range, is our order block. And in an uptrend, because presently now we are in an uptrend, and in an uptrend, the last bullish candle, the last bearish candle, which is this bearish candle you are seeing, is what we refer to as order block. The last bearish candle before this move that breaks structure, that take away this liquidity and create a new high, is what we refer to as our order block. So one of our zone is our order block. So we'll mark out this particular order block. We are still in that zone. Now the next thing we want to look out for is a fair value gap, which is an imbalance, improper price action. And looking at this, on these candlesticks, we have an improper price action. There is already a video on this channel where you can learn how to identify a fair value gap or an imbalance. So you can refer to that, and if you don't know, you can ask in the comment section and I will send you the link to that video. So here now, this is our fair value gap. Now, these zones we are marking are possible zones where we are expecting price to come in order for us to have a reversal or a trade entry. Then now, aside this, what other zone are we expecting price to reverse? Another zone or another key entry in this range is our smart money queue. And of course, we also had video where you can identify, I will say it is an opposite candle in a series of similar candles. So this candle you are seeing here, that bearish candle is a smart money queue. That bearish candle is a smart money queue. Because if you look at that zone carefully, you realize that we have been having a series of bullish candle. See, bullish candle, bullish candle, bullish candle, then suddenly a single bearish candle followed by subsequent bullish candle. So this candle is our smart money queue. Now that we have established this, what again do we do? Remember, the essence of this video is only for us to identify our range and also the zone. So we have identified the range. Now we have identified this zone. So in trading, we follow procedure. Procedure number one is that you determine the trend, which we have determined. Initially, this movement, we were in an uptrend. Yeah, initially we were in a downtrend, I beg your pardon. Initially we were in a downtrend. Price was giving us lower low, lower high, then lower low. And then suddenly we had this break of structure here. So we had this BOS which breaks structure and then price became bullish. So we now identify our range, and we say the range is the new movement that creates this new high. Okay, so that is our range. Just this movement. Remember, when this was formed, this bearish movement has not happened. So all of this is not part of the range. All of this is not part of it. So this is what we refer to as the range. Only this movement here is our range. So we are now marking all of these points of interest. First, we mark our order block. Here we have imbalance, fair value gap. Then now we have a smart money queue. So when we mark out this range now, we are now waiting for price. This range now becomes our potential zone for entry. We are now expecting price to come into this zone so that we can make our entry. So you see in this case now, price returning to this zone, and you see how price plays out. We still have this zone because price has tested this zone. Doesn't mean these ones are invalid. No. Price can choose to come back subsequently back into this zone later in the future. Now, look at what has happened. Now we have had this previous zone. So this zone is still valid because price has not retested. This one is also still valid because price has not retested. The only zone that is no longer valid here is this zone, the smart money queue, because price has already mitigated, so it is no longer a valid zone. But now, look at what happened. Price left this zone here and have already taken this high. So already price has given us a new range. Because look at what we are having now. We are having now higher low. This is what we are having now. Now we are having higher low, right? Higher high. Now look at it. We have a new higher low now, and this is our new higher high. So now if I am to draw a line, this is what we are having now. Can you see that? So this is our recent price structural movement. So the question is, where now is our new range? Anytime price creates a new higher low and a new higher high, that becomes our recent range. So what is our recent range? This movement here to this upside becomes our new range. You can see that now. So in this new range that we have now, we will now repeat the same pattern that we have repeated all over again. So what is the same pattern? We will now look at, in this move now, we have other block. So now you see now this last bearish candle here now becomes other block. Do you see that? And then now in that movement still, we don't have a fair value gap in this one. So what are we having? We still have a smart money cube. Look at that bearish candle. That bearish candle is now a smart money cube. So we'll now mark that bearish candle. So you now see how this works. So now we are expecting that possibly price can come to this smart money cube and continue back to the upside, or it can come to this other block and continue to the upside, or it can come down, because here now there is this internal liquidity sitting here, so it can take this liquidity, come inside this zone before going, or choose to come all the way to this other block, mitigate it before going back. So you can see how these things are simply being breaking down and become very easy. All right, so this is our range, and this is how we can identify our zone, and then we wait for price to come. Now we have done how to identify our range and where to buy from or sell from, knowing our key zones. Okay, so subsequent video was to look at how, now that price has come to this zone, how do we make entry, how do we buy, or how do we sell. Another thing we need to take note of, which is going to be a different video, I don't intend this video to be long, is how we can use our Fibonacci tool to identify this range. So thank you for watching, and I believe you have learned something new, you have gained value from this video. Do not forget to give this video a like, share, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first to get notified when we upload our next video. If you want to enroll for our mentorship class, there is a link in the description of this video that will take you to the mentorship group. Thank you, and see you in the subsequent video.